The UK is blessed with some of the finest motorcycle routes in the world, including stunning coastal roads, twisting mountain passes, and sweeping moorland rides. Enough to excite any motorcycle enthusiast. Finding a good motorbike road in the UK shouldn't be too tricky. Simply look for roadside diners filled with happy motorcyclists. But if you're looking for inspiration, check out these top 10 England motorcycle routes. Number 10. The North Coast 500. The NC 500 is the ultimate road trip on your doorstep. Easy to get to, great scenery, challenging roads, good facilities, and lots of opportunities to take in your own detours or side routes. Good facilities and lots of opportunities to take in your own detours or side routes. The designation of the NC 500 has also given people an easy route to follow and a sticker for the bike at the end. In the height of summer, it can get busy, with the single-lane roads on the west coast struggling to cope. The shoulder season of April, May, and September, October might be preferable, with quieter roads, fewer midges, and often better weather than in the summer. The road over the Pass of the Cattle into Applecross remains one of the great riding roads and can be challenging in adverse conditions which are common. Food at Applecross Inn is notoriously good, and the road around the peninsula to Torridon is another highlight. There's a free campsite by the YHA in Torridon, with youth hostels, an affordable and convenient way of touring the loop without spending a fortune. Number 9. 63 miles of hills and happiness. It's one of the most uninterrupted coastal runs in the country, passing through cliff-top moorland at the top of Exmoor National Park, down the steepest of hills, and having some quaint Devonshire villages to stop at en route. From Woolacombe, the route runs along the A31-23 to Barry Down Cross, then hang a left at Blackmore Gate to pick up at the A39 that you'll remain on for the next 50 miles, all the way into Bridgewater. A good deviation is to take the side roads in the direction of Martinhoe, turning left immediately after the Linton and Barnstaple Narrow Gauge Railway Adventure Center when riding west to east. Heading down the cliff tops and then down through the narrow lanes past Lee Abbey with a £2 donation box and on through the stunning Valley of the Rocks before coming out at the back of Linton. Number 8. Making for the Highlands. It takes you from the borders of Scotland all the way up to the Inverary, the self-titled gateway to the Highlands, without having to traipse through the Glasgow-Edinburgh corridor. The route starts in the village of Crocketford, just to the west of Dumfries. Heads up to Ayr on the A712 and the A713, before following the A78 around to Greenock, to the west of Port Glasgow, where you take a short ferry across Dunoon. From here, you can ride the main A815 along Loch Eck, then around the stunning Loch Fyne to Inverary. The ferry to Dunoon is operated by Western Ferries with a 20-minute crossing and ferries leaving every 15 minutes at peak times. The cost is £4.50 for bikes and another £4.50 per passenger. You can pay on deck with card or cash. Once across, and if you have the time, a worthwhile deviation is to take the B836 just out of Dunoon in the direction of Clachan of Glendalough, where you'll also find a great campsite. Number 7. The TransEuropean Trail. It's the first fully mapped legal trail route throughout mainland Europe, a total of 2,112 miles in length, and 1,634 of those miles through the UK. The TET is the brainchild of UK trailblazer John Ross, who saw the success of the Trans-American Trail, a dirt road route across almost the full length of America, and set about working with a team of linesmen through Europe to map out a completely free and downloadable route with the foot of Spain all the way through the top of Norway. The route through the UK isn't entirely non-tarmac, as some of it relies on linking sections between the legal trails. But the real draw is in the ease of being able to follow the route and the community that's grown up around it, with riders across Europe sharing tips and advice. Number 6. East Coast Discovery Route. A taste of the old English seaside resorts of the East Coast, mixed with some of the stunning roads across the Yorkshire moorland. Starting in Skegness as a suggestion where cheap accommodations make it for an early start the next morning. The route traces up the East Coast, through Mablethorpe, and out into the Lincolnshire wolds of the Humber Bridge. Over the Humber Bridge, and if you have the time, head east, all the way to Withersea, and follow the coast from there. The road is particularly good, quite twisty, well-sighted, with Flamborough Head worth stopping at once you get to the top. On to Scarborough and the A171 all the way to Whitby. This is a lovely road with some nice sweeping corners, though watch out for some of the hidden dips and corkscrews. Whitby itself is a highlight of the UK in my book, and some good YHA accommodations at the Abbey if you're after something different and cheap. Number 5. Plodding through the Peak District. The Peak District can be a particularly busy place, given that it's surrounded by cities. But if you take a route up through the middle, especially on a weekday, then it can feel as remote and wild as you want it to. This route shuns the obvious ones such as the Cat and Fiddle and Snake Pass, as they are often crowded and have a high police presence. From the A6, head north to Roseley, where you take a right up towards Chatsworth House for a nice scenic run through the grounds. From Baslow, you take the A623 straight up to Chapel in Frith, but that would be missing out on the good riding up towards Castleton and the Edale Loop. The highlight of this being the climb up through the Winnats Pass, a bit like Cheddar Gorge but without all the tourist tat. Castleton has some great local pubs to eat at and sleep at, as well as some cheap campsites up on the hill, as well as a well-priced YHA. Number 4. A Yorkshireman's Wedding. Though stunning Yorkshire, this isn't fast riding, but can be challenging in parts and is a million miles away from the hustle and bustle of Yorkshire towns and cities. From Skipton, head quickly up Settle, where you'll find some good eateries such as Ye Old Naked Man. From there, take the winding B64-79 up to the Ribblehead Viaduct on the Settle to Carlisle line. Ride down to beneath the viaduct via the service road if time allows. Otherwise, head northeast to Halls, with the Winsleydale Creamery a worthwhile stop as you pass through. Number 3. The Welsh Valley Retreat. From the rat run of the southwest all the way to the quietest coast of the UK, passing through the stunning Brecons Beacons, up to Ray Adder, and out through the Elan Valley, there's some great riding to be had. The A466 north from Chepstow to Monmouth is idyllic, as it winds its way along the River Way, passing the worthwhile rest stop of the Tintern Abbey ruins, with good food served in the pubs beside it. West here, on the A40, takes you into the Brecons Beacons, with it down to you as to how much time you have to explore the area. Brecon itself is a good place to base yourself, and the most fun to be had is on the narrow lanes that cross the beacons, such as the sealed section of the Saran Helen, between City Bridge and Pendrin. The A4069, otherwise known as the Black Mountain Pass, is a well-known route and worth doing, but it can get busy in the summer and does take you a fair way out of the west of the beacons. On the A483, you can make your way back up to Ray Adder with its cafe at Crossgate. Just to the east of Ray Adder, a popular place for bikers, Ray Adder itself also has good facilities and lodging options. Number 2. The Northeast 250. This is a new one to the list, an initiative mimicking the overwhelmingly popular NC 500 and designed to attract tourists to the east of Scotland. It's likely to be great, as it'll be significantly quieter than the NC 500 at peak season. The people behind the NE 250 reckon it's the ultimate road trip to the heart of Scotland. Consisting of 250 miles, Scotland's newest tourist route takes you through Speyside, the Cairngorms, Royal Deeside, Aberdeen, the East Coast, and Moray Coast. Though each of these sectors you can explore everything for which Scotland is famous, whether that be whiskey, golf, mountains, nature, or history and heritage, just to name a few. Number 1. Big lakes and high passes. The Windermere Loop. The Lake District has a lot to offer, even in the space of a day. Start from Windermere, take the boat across to the west shore, and start exploring. There's the famous Rhinos Pass, as well as the steepest pass of them all, Hard Knot. If you have the time, you can even venture further to the north and ride the Honister Pass. Picturesque villages and unspoilt views make for a scenic exploration. With any bike capable of roaming these parts, in some ways, the smaller the better. The ride along the shore in Coniston Waters is a pleasant one. With all facilities found in Coniston Village, there's a good cafe around. With a decent map, it's very hard to get lost in the Lake District, as most of the routes are circular. Do let us know in the comments where you want to start your journey. Thanks for watching.